Aloha, and welcome to VOSR International, the Voice of Shortwave Radio. I'm your host, Wavecrest Guy. This broadcast is being transmitted by WRMI, Radio Miami International, in Okeechobee, Florida, on both 9455 and 15770 kilohertz. I'm going to start out this broadcast with some announcements. Back on June 7th, VOSR International began a monthly broadcast to 15770 kilohertz on Saturdays at 2300 UTC. We've decided here to go ahead and make that a every other week broadcast so it'll line up and sync with our broadcast on 9455 kilohertz. So right now, this will be the first broadcast that will be updated to this schedule, and you can expect a new program every other week on 15770 kilohertz. So there will be a new broadcast, and then there'll be one the next week. There will be a rebroadcast, and then followed by another new broadcast. It'll just make it easier to get the programs uploaded and in the queue, and everything will be synced, and announcements and everything will flow a lot easier. So you can expect to see that starting with this broadcast. We haven't gotten as many reception reports or communications from the 15770 kilohertz broadcast, so go ahead and send those in, and send them into VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. And don't forget to put the frequency of 15770 kilohertz in there so I know which broadcast you are listening to. And then also, of course, if you're listening on 9455 kilohertz, put that in your messages also. Next, I wanted to mention that there's going to be an announcement during the mailbag segment on regular postcard type QSL cards that VOSR International has. And you'll have to wait until the mailbag segment to get the information on that. And now, on with the show. So at this time, I'd like to give one last reminder for our radio giveaway. Here at VOSR, we are giving away a Redicus V115 shortwave radio. And it's simple to enter the drawing. Just send an email to VOSRINT. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. And in the subject line, put down radio giveaway. In the body of the message, you can put down, please enter me, or whatever. You can give your name and address, but you don't have to at that time. We are going to have the drawing on August 2nd, and that's when the announcement is going to be on August 2nd's broadcast. And so we will announce the winner at that time, and I will be sending it out. I will reply to your email message, and I will ask for your name and address at that time for the winner. So then when I get it all set up and sent out, I will get the tracking, and I will send you one more email with the tracking information. So pretty simple, and so you won't have to worry about spam or anything of that sort. And one thing that we'd like to have is whoever does win, it'd be great if you could send us a picture with the radio, and we will go ahead and we will post that on our website at VOSRInternational.com. We'll have an update on there, and we'll announce the winner on the website also. So go ahead. You only have until August 2nd to send those emails in. And again, that email address one last time is VOSRINT@yahoo.com. And then in the subject line, put radio giveaway. Only one email per person is going to be allowed. Good luck, everyone.
And now on to our first segment. Ancient Grass returns, and he's got some information on the Drake R8 radio. Take it away, Ancient Grass.
Voice of Shortwave Radio. This is your guest host, Ancient_Grass_5121. That's my username on YouTube and on Reddit as well. Tonight I'd like to talk about the Drake R8. The reason I'd like to talk about it is because there's now a new software program that can be used to control your radio. If you have a Linux-based system, Fedora or Ubuntu or any one of those Linux-based operating systems, which is free to download if you don't have it already, you can run this alongside Windows. If you don't want to go without Windows, you can just do a dual partition and have Linux running on one partition and Windows running on the other, so you don't lose your Windows operating system. But you could also use Linux as well. This program that is created to work with Linux or with Mac is the Smart GNOME Control v.5 on GitHub. GitHub is a website used to download software. So if you go to GitHub and under Mark J. Fine, who's the creator, look up SG Control. The URL is https://github.com/markjfine/SG Control. If you go on there, you can download the program, which is used to control the Drake. Now, the Drake has a port on the back of it, an RS-232 port, and you can connect this to your computer if you use the right adapter. So what I would do is, if you have a newer computer, you can go to Best Buy and you can buy a RS-232 to USB connector, and it comes with like a 1-foot cable, and you can use that to connect your Drake R8 to your computer. You could also buy it on Amazon as well. If your computer is older, you could just buy the RS-232 cable and connect your radio into your computer directly. Either way is fine. So the SG Control is made to control your Drake R8 radio via your computer. You can also see the frequency, see all the settings, etc. And you can pretty much do everything on your computer to control your radio without actually having to touch your radio, which I find very interesting. There's also a website which you can use to control somebody else's Drake R8 radio, and that website is chilton.com/r8/receiver.html, and this person has their own radio on here. You can use it, this GUI interface, to turn the radio on, change the frequency, select which mode you want. So if you want AM, FM, CW, RTTY, LSB, or USB, change the bandwidth, change the AGC, turn on different things. So I'm messing around with it right now as we talk. The only thing you can't do with this website is put the preamplifier or the attenuator on. Other than that, though, you could pretty much do everything you can with your Drake R8 or through this guy's Drake R8. But yeah, it's a very similar concept. This program was designed by Mark J. Fine. Shout out to him. He is a user over on the Shortwave Plus community. His username over there is Historical View 4058. So that's Historical View 4058. And he created this program. And if you want to use it, it's free. It's open to the public. So you just go on GitHub and you download the software, install it based on the instructions, and you can use this to control your Drake R8 radio. And yeah, it's a very useful tool, especially for me. My Drake R8 display is not that great, and I know a lot of other people that have problems with their Drake R8 display as well. So if you also have this problem, your computer can be your display for your Drake R8. And it's pretty awesome having a computer-controlled radio. There are other radios that you can control through your computer as well, and using this similar software, you can do that as well. So while we're on the topic of things you can do on Linux, if you have an RTL SDR or similar SDR dongle, you can also use Linux. A lot of people say they have problems using Linux and their SDRs because they can't find software. If you use Debian Linux like Ubuntu, there is the regular AirSpy software I think you can download. Debian's a little bit easier, but if you use Red Hat Linux like I do, if you use Fedora 42, you can also use your SDR The SDR software that I recommend is GQRX. GQRX is free, and I like it better than the AirSpy software, which I didn't think I would say because I really like the AirSpy software. However, the GQRX is a lot better. I find it easier to use, and it's very nice because it has a AM sync mode, which the AirSpy software does not have. So if that's something you find useful, which is something I find useful, then I would recommend you download the GQRX software-defined radio package. And that can be used on Linux. I haven't run it on Windows yet, so I'm not sure. You can always look into it. But that's my recommendation for software for your software-defined radios. Lastly, I'd like to talk about propagation and atmospheric conditions. So as you know, shortwave radio is affected by the atmosphere and the sun. Solar conditions play a big role in shortwave radio because there are shortwave radio blackouts. Solar conditions, if there's a lot of sunspots, it's great for picking up faraway stations. It really helps in propagation. If the sunspot number is low, that would hurt shortwave radio propagation because you're not able to pick up as many stations as you would with a high sunspot number. Also, the solar wind affects shortwave radio. So if you have a high solar wind, it contributes to noise, and that would cause you to not be able to pick up really weak stations. If you have a low noise floor due to low solar wind, then that will help you pick up stations. If there's a solar storm, that could cause a blackout, which has happened in the past. These past couple months, there's been a few times where I haven't been able to pick up anything. And yeah, there's besides that, the sunspot numbers, the solar flux, things like that will all affect radio. The KP index is a good index to figure out how good solar conditions are. So if KP index is a 0 or a 1, conditions will be really good. If the KP index is heading towards 10, like for example, if you have like a 7 or an 8, or even a 5 or a 6, that could negatively impact propagation. All those things should be kept in mind when it comes to shortwave radio and propagation. If you want to check this out, there's a website that you can go to called, or I'll just give you the link for it, solar.w5mmw.net. If you go to that website, you can check these updated solar conditions. They update it pretty often. I know for the Grundig Shortwave Radio subreddit, I use this website for our little solar conditions guide on there. And if you go to the Grundig Shortwave Radio website, you can just click on the little Grundig Radio icon, and that will bring up the current solar conditions, but I don't update it as much as the actual website. And again, that's solar.w5mmw.net. Go ahead and check that out. I really find that website useful. You can also go to the NOAA websites, NOAA. That's provided by the U.S. government, so if you want to check that out. And I know WWV and WWVH also give out solar conditions. They usually do a solar forecast, and for a solar forecast, I recommend that you go to the website swpc.noaa.gov/products/3-day forecast. So if you type that into Google, it would just be the 3-day forecast for space weather. And you can look up and it will tell you the space weather conditions. Looking at like a 3-day outlook, it will tell you the KP index for the next 3 days. And this website will give you a good idea of when the best radio conditions are. So if you want to listen to the radio and you don't want any BS, you can just go to this website and figure out what it's going to be like for the next 3 days. And it also tells you certain times in UTC, and they'll tell you at that time what the KP index should be. So for example, it gives you 0 to 3 UTC, 3 to 6 UTC, 6 to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 15, 15 to 18, 18 to 21, and 21 to 00 UTC for each of the 3 days, and you can see what the KP index will be. So you can say, okay, for example, July 5th, KP index is going to be 3 between 00 and 3 UTC, but at 21 to 00 UTC, it's predicted to be a KP index of 1. So you know at that time is a good time to be DXing and trying to pull in these weak stations. However, earlier that day, probably not a good time. So just keep that in mind. You can use that tool. That's very helpful. And if you're tuning around WWV or WWVH, they also give that out on there as well, which you have to be listening at the right times to be able to hear that. On a side note, one last thing I'd like to talk about is FM DXing. Now, recently I came across a lot of stations from all over the country just coming in at once on my radios at home, which is pretty cool. So I happened to be listening to a radio station to bed, and it was a classical station, a local classical station. And when I woke up, the radio was just mixing in with a whole bunch of different stations. And I was hearing stations from Florida, like WFIT on 89.5. And I'm like, wow, sporadic E is happening. Now, this phenomenon is called sporadic E. There's gas clouds that form in the atmosphere, and it causes you to be able to pick up FM or VHF stations from all over the country. This used to happen a lot with television, back when television was analog. It can still happen with digital television, but they have to be a VHF station. So, yeah, I was picking up FM stations from all over the country, as far away as Oklahoma, Florida, Arkansas, Iowa, all over. And this usually happens in the early summer, in spring. However, this year it hasn't been as good. So, luckily, I was able to experience that on July 4th. And a lot of people did catch on that this was happening, and it affected every VHF frequency. So I was mostly monitoring FM broadcasts, but CB radio was helped out by this, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, but I was too caught up with picking up all these FM stations across the country that I didn't have time to check out any of the other frequencies, like public service frequencies and CB. But yeah, so that's something to look forward to this time of the year, and it seems to be happening. So if you hear FM stations fading in and out rapidly, you'll hear your local station, all of a sudden it just fades away and it turns into something else. You're probably experiencing sporadic E. So keep an eye out for that, or I should say an ear out for that. And with that, I conclude my segment. Thank you for tuning in to the Voice of Shortwave Radio, and thank you for listening to my segment. If you enjoyed it, please let us know. If you didn't, let us know. We'll try to fix that. And yeah, if you want to check out some of my YouTube videos, my username is ancient_grass_5121. ancient_grass_5121 is also my username on Reddit as well. So please check that out. I'm on r/Grundig Shortwave Radio, and I'm also on r/Shortwave Plus. So check out those communities. I really enjoy being there. But my main community is the r/Grundig Shortwave Radio, so please check that out. Feel free to post any of your DXing videos, whether that be FM, AM, shortwave, and post your radios. You know, pretty much every radio is cool. I know it's called Grundig Shortwave Radio, but we accept all sorts of different radios. So feel free to check that out and post anything radio related, anything like that, questions, comments, anything. So yeah, please check that out, and without further ado, I'm signing off. 73. This is Ancient Grass.
That was another great segment from Ancient Grass. Remember, if you're going to be checking him out online at his YouTube channel or over on Reddit, it is ancient_grass_5121. Also, let us know if you knew about this software for the Drake R8, if you use it, or if now you're going to go check it out. Also, let us know if you go and check it out, how it works out for you. Send us an email at VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. And be sure to check out our website at VOSRInternational.com. We'll have the links for the software over there, and some of the propagation information also will be in an update. And now a programming segment.
This one is one of my favorite shortwave radio stations, and I listen to it often. and it's RNZ Pacific, Radio New Zealand, formerly Radio New Zealand International. When I was first ordering my radio and waiting for it to come in, I was doing research on different radio stations that I wanted to try to pick up. This one I kept referring back to and trying to find out more information on. This one really has a lot of good programming, and I really enjoy it mostly for the music. They have really a big variety of music, different genres. They have shows that actually talk to the artists, talk about their history of their music and how they got started and what their influences were. And it's really, really good programming for music. So I mainly, when I want to sit down and relax and listen to some music, I usually try to head over to RNZ and see what they got playing. So I'm going to start out with a little bit of their history. And I really recommend everyone head over to their website. There's so much information on there, and it'll have the most important thing, of course, will be their scheduling. When they schedule, it changes actually fairly often, and it changes. They change it with the seasons with propagation. And they've got quite a few frequencies that they use, and then right at the end of the hour for that frequency, they'll say we're going to be breaking away and going over to the next frequency, and they'll say which one it is, and it'll continue along that way. This radio station does that probably the best of anyone, and so you can really continually listen to them. I've been listening to a few other stations, and it'll be a talk show, and they'll be right mid-sentence, and it'll just kick off, and it doesn't tell you where to go to pick up the rest of it, and makes it a little bit more difficult. RNZ does a good job with that to be able to keep the listeners following over to where they are. And I'll go over that schedule here later on in the segment also. So from their website, RNZ Pacific, formerly known as RNZI, Radio New Zealand International, broadcasts in digital and analog shortwave to radio stations and individual listeners across the Pacific region. Around 20 Pacific radio stations relay RNZ Pacific material daily, and individual shortwave listeners and internet users across the world tune in directly to RNZ Pacific content. RNZ Pacific signal can sometimes be heard as far away as Japan, North America, Middle East, and Europe. I get people on the show here that say that they listen to RNZ, and they're picking it up over on the East Coast, the mainland United States. Sometimes they get it really well too. Out in the West or in the Midwest, they're picking it up there. Definitely good enough to listen to. They're listening to it on the East Coast. And, of course, it's going to depend on propagation and where you live. Maybe some of the bigger cities, you're going to have some issues with interference. But a lot of people can pick up RNZ, and it's definitely worth trying to do. Now, if you can't pick it up with your shortwave, I definitely recommend trying a web or internet SDR. I use Kiwi SDR, and there's plenty of radios on there. As soon as you go in, it'll bring up a list of radios, and there's radios there from all over the world. So you can pick one that is close to Pacific or out in the Pacific, and you can listen to RNZ. And then you'll be able to tell if the content is something that you like, and you'll be able to go on the website, check for the scheduling, and try more with a different antenna or try different things to be able to try to pick it up on your radio. Definitely worth the hassle though, but check it out first, and if you can't, get on the internet, do Kiwi SDR, so you'll be able to pick it up. Now, when you go to their website, it also provides a comprehensive Pacific news service with the very latest of Pacific stories and extensive online news archive. Also available on there are transcripts from the Daily Pacific Current Affairs program, Dateline Pacific, live audio feeds, and on-demand podcast audio for their programs. So you can also listen that way. That is another good medium that you use. Hop on there and take a listen. There's nothing like getting it over the radio on shortwave, so you'll definitely want to try that. But you can always check over here, check it out first, and see if it's something that you'll be interested in. So flagship daily current affairs program Pacific Waves is widely listened to across the region and is also broadcast by BBC Pacific Service. So they have that program Pacific Waves, and I have caught that a few times, and it is a really good current affairs program. The World Radio Network, WRN, an international broadcaster operating out of London, also broadcasts on RNZ Pacific material throughout U.S., Europe, Africa, and Asia. So it is really worldwide news that they are broadcasting out. RNZ Pacific broadcasts primarily in English, but bulletins in selected Pacific languages can be heard in breakfast sessions. They also have sections in there, or segments from Radio Vanuatu. And so there are some different programming on there. You might have to use a translator program to pick it up and be able to translate it for you so you can understand it, but you will pick it up that way. So sometimes if you're just turning the dial, it can be misleading on what you ended up picking up, and you might think that it is something else. So the RNZ studios are located in Radio New Zealand House, Wellington, New Zealand. The transmission station can be found in Rangitakei in the middle of North Island. And you can they do have more information about their transmitters and their technical equipment, and I'll get to that in a bit. A little bit for the early history, though. In 1948, New Zealand launched a shortwave service to the Pacific, Radio New Zealand, with programming about New Zealand and the Pacific. Until 1990, the station broadcast on two 7.5 kilowatt transmitters, which had been left behind by the U.S. military after the Second World War. So they were pretty low power up until then. In the late 1980s, following growing political pressure to take on more active role in the Pacific area, the government upgraded the service. A new 100 kilowatt transmitter was installed, and the same day the Commonwealth Games opened up in Auckland, the service was relaunched and Radio New Zealand International was born. In May of 2017, Radio New Zealand International's online brand was changed to RNZ Pacific to more clearly reflect the service, what the service does, and make content easier to find. Also online, the service to push to engage with domestic Pacifica audience of New Zealand. RNZ Pacific is funded through New Zealand's Ministry of Culture and Heritage and run as part of New Zealand's public broadcaster, Radio New Zealand. Now I'm going to go back over to the more technical side on their transmitters. So RNZ Pacific has one transmitter, a 100 kilowatt digital capable DRM shortwave transmitter. We have retired our original 100 kilowatt analog transmitter. It is now used as a backup in the event of a fault in the main transmitter. So their transmission site is in Rangitakei, like I mentioned before, and that is 41 kilometers east of Taupu, the center of North Island of New Zealand. So the Thomson Broadcast and Multimedia Digital Compatible Transmitter was installed in 2005. It is used to provide studio quality DRM signal for relay to local Pacific radio stations. The analog transmitter was manufactured by Thomson CSF of France and installed in 1990. It is now only used as backup. It has an output power of 100 kilowatts and is equipped with 3 transmitting tubes. 2 tubes are TH581s and for cooling, and one is a TH581 for air cooling. Our studios are located in Wellington, and the start of 2000 we moved to a digital presentation system for all program making and broadcasting tasks. Now we'll go into a little bit about their antennas. They operate 2 high frequency and 2 low band antennas manufactured by TCI of California. One of each beams 35 degrees and one of each beams 325 degrees. They can be driven individually, or when fed in parallel, the beam widens to 140 degrees. So depending on how they have the antennas set up and for which frequencies, that's really going to depend on the swath of their where their broadcast goes and who can hear it. So the first one, HR 2/4-0.5, is a 5-band curtain antenna with a frequency range of 9.5 to 17.9 megahertz. It consists of 8 folded dipoles arranged in 2 columns of 4 dipoles. The average angle of elevation is 10 degrees and the gain is 17 dBs at 9 megahertz, which gives an ERP of 2 megawatts rising to 20 dBs at 17 megahertz, which gives an ERP of 5 megawatts in broad terms. In March of 1993, the low-frequency antenna was installed. HR 2/2/1 is a 4-band dipole curtain antenna with a frequency range of 5.95 to 12.05 megahertz. And this one consists of 4 dipoles arranged in 2 columns of 2 dipoles. The average takeoff angle is 12 degrees with a gain of 16 dBs at 6 megahertz, increased up to 19 dBs at 12 megahertz. The antennas are fed with 300 ohm open line feeders with a complex matching and switching system. A large reflecting mesh forms a backdrop to each antenna array, and the tension on the dipoles is maintained with systems of pulleys and counterweights. The 35-degree beam covers southeastern Pacific and North America. The 325-degree beam covers the southwestern Pacific, northeast Australia, Japan, China, and Europe. With the antenna combined, virtually all the Pacific Basin is covered. So when I go over the scheduling, you'll be able to see which ones, which frequencies you can use that depending on where your location is, you'll have a better chance of picking them up. So now I'll go over this scheduling. And so from their website again on how to listen, you can check over there. But RNZ Pacific broadcasts to the following frequencies and times to different parts of the Pacific region. Expect scheduling changes from time to time to take account of propagation to our target audience. And then also keep in mind that every month on the first Wednesday is maintenance day for our transmitter site from 2330 UTC to 0600 UTC. That's Thursdays at 10:30 to 1800 hours New Zealand Standard Time. During this period, there might be some interruptions to our programs. Okay, so first off, it'll give a date range, and on the top of this date range it's currently on there is March 30th of 2025 to October 25th of 2025. And this will go down according to UTC. So it from 0000 to 0558 UTC, you can pick them up at 17,675 kilohertz. And that is, the target is across the Pacific, and that's daily. And then from 0559 UTC to 0758 UTC, then they switch over to 11,725 kilohertz. And again, that's the Pacific is the target, and that's daily also. Then there's one more switch from 0759 UTC to 1058 UTC. They broadcast of 9700 kilohertz and also 7425 kilohertz, again with the target being the Pacific, and that's daily also. That 7425, I just picked them up recently. It was probably towards the early April. When I was just turning the dial, and I'd never heard them on 7425 kilohertz before, and I was able to pick them up there just by turning the dial. I go, boy, that sounds like RNZ, and I checked the website, and I did see that, yes, they were broadcasting on that frequency. Then also, it goes from 1059 UTC to 1258 UTC. Now, this one is just a continuation, but it changes the target. So it's on 9700 kilohertz and 7425 kilohertz, but the target changes from the Pacific to Vanuatu and Solomon Islands, and that is also daily. So when that target changes, if you were in some other area listening, then on 9700 you might not be able to get them as much because they change the antenna. So you might lose them from that during that time frame. Then also it goes to 12:59 UTC to 16:50 UTC. This is on Sunday and through Friday, with the target of the Pacific. They're on 7440 kilohertz. So again, another frequency. So they have quite a few frequencies, and they do switch between them. And sometimes that switch does occur before that is posted on their website. So it's before this. So you might, as soon as if you're going back into these and you're usually listening to them, and all of a sudden they're not, head back to the website, and you should be able to find out that there is going to be a change coming. And next it goes through for Saturday at 12:59 to 16:58 UTC. They're on 7440 kilohertz, and the target is the Pacific. Then from 16:51 UTC to 17:55 UTC, they are on 7425. They are also on a 6135 on AM, but that target is Cook Islands and Samoa and Tonga, and that is Sunday through Friday. So again, a different target. Next, from 16:59 UTC to 17:55 UTC, with a target of the Pacific only on Saturday, they are on 6135 kilohertz. Then next is 1756 UTC to 1958 UTC. They are on 9700 kilohertz and 9780 kilohertz, but with a target of Cook Islands, Samoa, and Tonga, and that is Sunday through Friday. 1759 UTC to 1958 UTC, they are on 9700 kilohertz, with a target of the Pacific, that is on Saturday. And then at 1955 UTC to 2058 UTC, they are on 15720 and 11690 kilohertz, with a target of the Pacific, and that is Sunday through Friday. So they definitely change through the week there. And then two more at 1959 UTC to 2058 UTC, they are on 15720 with a target of the Pacific, and that is on Saturday. And then daily, with the target of the Pacific, they are on from 2059 UTC to 0000 UTC on 17675 kilohertz.
After going over that scheduling, you can see how often that they actually do switch frequencies, and they do a really good job with this. And one of the things that they ended up doing is, and it became, pretty iconic in shortwave, is that they have an intro for the new frequency when it comes back on the line, when it switches over. And it's very distinctive, and everybody recognizes it and what it is. The very first time I caught this, I just happened to have been listening to RNZ, and it came to the end of the frequency, and they said which frequency to go over to. It was 9700 kilohertz. And so I went over there, and I was waiting for it to come on, and of course there was silence. And then, of course, I was greeted by the iconic birds chirping or warbling. I do have a small clip of that, and I'm going to play that right now. That's just a small clip of it, and it's really iconic in shortwave, and it's worth checking out and worth trying to go over during those transitions, just so you can hear that. I also have a video clip of that I did, and I will have a playlist that I put together of some of the recordings that I took off of RNZ. So I made an RNZ playlist. I'll put that over on our website, over at VOSR International.com. And I'll have an updated section there just about RNZ. I'll have the playlist there, and then I'll also have the link to the website for RNZ, so you can check the scheduling yourself, and you can keep up to date whenever they make changes. One last thing I want to do, and to close out this segment, I'm going to just go over the weekly schedule for Saturday and Sunday and list a couple of the programs that they have on there. And so starting out at 12:28 a.m., they have the Wantok program,
which is a 30 minutes of news and current affairs from ABC Australia from Monday to Friday in Papua New Guinea, their language, in Solomon Islands Pidgin, and in Vanuatu Pidgin languages. So if you're just turning the dial and you hear a different language, it is something to stop at and check it out. It might be RNZ. While the majority of their broadcasting is in English, they will have some segments that go for quite a while, a half hour at least, and they will be in a different language, so that could throw you off, especially when you're just turning the dial. After that, they follow up with Pacific Region News, and then the program I talked about earlier, Pacific Waves, they listed as a daily current affairs program covering the major Pacific stories of the week with background reaction from people making the news. Then they go to an RNZ National, that is a relay of RNZ National, including news on the hour, and that's at 2 a.m. Then they kind of go through and do a rotation of different news, and then they also have sports. So they do have that in there also. Then there's a public announcements. They usually have it around 7, about 10 after 7 in the morning. And then they rotate through the news throughout the day. Then on Saturday night at 7:08, this is one of the programs that I like to tune into, and that is it's called Saturday Night. It's Saturday nights on RNZ National, where Paul Brennan plays the songs you want to hear, all music from 7 until midnight. And that is a really good program. A lot of music that you don't hear everywhere, different genres, and it is really a well-rounded music program. And it's just definitely something to look forward to. Then moving on, the last one I'll go over is Sunday, and that in the morning and through the day works pretty much the same. It goes through and rotates their different news programs, and then at 8:08 p.m. and these times are New Zealand times that I'm given. That's what they have on their website. So at 8:08 p.m. New Zealand time, they have Sunday Night with Grant Walker, and that's an evening of music and nostalgia. And this is probably my favorite one, because this is the one where he definitely talks more. He actually interviews the people, the artists. He'll go over and tell stories about the artists, and then play some really, really good music. So those are definitely ones to catch if you can. And if you can't catch their content, again, I'll mention, go on a web or internet SDR. I use Kiwi SDR. It'll come right up there. You'll be able to pick a radio that is close to their location, and then you'll be able to pick them up and hear their programming. And but it's definitely well worth trying to get with your radio. Try different antennas, different locations. I know it's definitely going to be a little bit hard in some larger cities where you have a lot of interference, but it is definitely worth trying to seek out. So let us know. Do you listen to Pacific Radio, the RNZ? And are you trying to get it, and it's one that you haven't been able to get yet? Have you heard the iconic warbling birds during the changeover to a different frequency? Let us know. Send us an email at VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. And also go over and check out our website, VOSRInternational.com. I'm going to have an update there. Well, I'll have the playlist for RNZ, and also have a link to their website. And now we'll move over to our mailbag segment. Very first one here, I'm really happy to announce that I can announce Adrian as a regular listener. He answered me on YouTube. He also sent me an email, and he is in Malta, and he reported a SINPO of 55353 on 15770 kilohertz. And the email he sent, we had gone back and forth trying to, he's been trying to get the program for quite a while, and we messaged back and forth. And last week he was finally able to pick up the program, and this is the second time he was able to send in a reception report. So glad to have you returning, Adrian. Next, we have regular listener Paul from St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And he reports that he loved the guest segments on the July 5th broadcast, and he really loves hearing about other people's DXing experiences. And he's using a web SDR in Washington, D.C. on 9455 kilohertz, and he reported an SINPO of 54355. And he had sent in a really detailed reception report. Thanks again, Paul. Got some communications from regular listeners over at Discord. Master Player 30 is from Louisiana, and he mentioned that it was a great show from the July 5th. And he also reported a really good signal of plus 10 with some fading. And he uses the SDR Play RSP1A with an MLA 30 antenna. Krynon from Wichita reports a strong signal, and Justin from Central Wisconsin reported that he loved the segment on the signal identification that Ancient Grass put out, and that really was an informative segment, and we got a good response from that one. And he reports a signal of S7 through S8 on his RSP Duo with an MLA 30 plus antenna.
And we have a new listener, Harry from Fort Walton Beach, Florida. He reports an SINPO of 55545. He's a new listener, and he thoroughly enjoyed our program and the show content. He was listening on a Texan S2200X with an MFJ 1045C and an MFJ 1046 RF preselectors with a 100-foot Sloper V dipole antenna. Then we have regular listener John from Off the Grid Coyote Hill Ranch in Arizona. He reports an SINPO of 55454, and he said it was coming in good tonight. Rich reports a good signal on 9455 kilohertz. He is from northwest lower Michigan on the southern shore of Torch Lake. He loved the show, and he's listening on an SDR Play RSP1 with an 82-foot end-fed long wire antenna. He also reports he would try to pick up the program on 15770 kilohertz. Next, we have first-time listener Peter from Oroville, California, and he's looking forward to the next broadcast. And also the SINPO he reports is a 45534. That's pretty good out to California. And he's listening on a 1938 Zenith, a 12S265 console radio. I'd love to see a picture of your radio, Peter. If you can, send that in and we'll post it on the VOSRinternational.com website. Send it in to VOSRINT@yahoo.com. Also, his antenna is a second floor balcony railing. North to south is 50 feet and east to west is 30 feet. Next, we have regular listener John from Morristown, Tennessee. And he reports that we were just above the noise level on 15770 kilohertz on July 6th. And thanks for that report. And everybody, if you're not getting us in very well, I'd like to hear those reception reports too. We want to hear both the good and bad, but let us know if it's not coming in that well also. Then we have Ray from Clayton, New Jersey. And he's listening on the Grundig Satellite 800 with an MLA 30 antenna. And he reports thanks for the excellent show and says that he will be a regular listener from now on, and he loves the content. We really, of course, love to hear messages like that. Thanks for tuning in, Ray. And lastly, we have Martin from Gainsborough, UK, and he reports listening on 15770 kilohertz with an inverted L antenna. And we really appreciate that. We haven't gotten too many reception reports from Europe yet, so it's always great to hear that. And make sure everybody send in your reception reports, any comments about any of the segments, and send those into VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. And then also check out our website at VOSRInternational.com. You can go over there. There's a mail link there. You can just click that to send an email that way also. Now I want to give one more reminder about our shortwave radio giveaway here at VOSR International. We are still giving away that Ereticus V115 shortwave radio, and I will be having the drawing. I had to take a look at this for the scheduling so I can make the announcement on the August 2nd broadcast. So the emails will have to be sent in and received by July 27th. So we need those by July 27th. That way I can do the drawing on July 28th and then still be able to record that small segment for who the winner is, and that the radio will be being shipped out for the August 2nd's broadcast. So I need a little bit of time there. I forgot about that timing with the every other week schedule here now. So make sure you get your email sent in by July 27th, and I will be drawing on July 28th, and with the announcement coming out on August 2nd. Send in those emails to VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. Or you can head over to our website at VOSRInternational.com, and there's a mail icon there that you can click on and send the email that way. Make sure in the email, in the subject line, you put in radio giveaway. Now, I was going to have a second segment on the Ereticus V115 shortwave radio on this broadcast, but with all the other segments, I couldn't fit it into this broadcast. So what you can still do, though, is you could still go out to our website at VOSRInternational.com, and you can check out, I'll have an update in there, and there'll be some links to a playlist over on my YouTube channel, Wavecraft Sky, and you can go over there and click on, you'll actually see the radio that's going to be given away, and you'll see it in operation. And I put it through some tests, and you could see some receptions. There's some from the AM band, the FM band, and also shortwave. So you can go ahead and see it. And I even clipped on different antennas, so you could see it with different antennas on it. It doesn't have an external port for an antenna, but I used an alligator clip, and you can see the difference that made. So go on over to VOSRInternational.com, and you can check out the Ereticus V115 in action.
I'm going to close out the mailbag with an announcement. From the very beginning, I have been sending out EQSL cards for anyone who sends in an email with a reception report. And I have a couple variations of that right now. I'd love to get more different variations. And when people send in the reception report, then they'll be able to collect the different cards. So I also going to switch that up a little bit here. And I was able to have some regular postcard type QSL cards made up. And I'm going to, from time to time, I'll announce just like this, and we will have a giveaway. And it'll be for the first 25 emails I get with reception reports. I will go ahead and mail out these postcard type QSL cards through the snail mail, through regular mail. So what you will have to do is send an email to VOSRINT@yahoo.com. One more time, that's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. And in the subject line, put in snail mail QSL. Then in the body of the message, of course, I'm going to need your mailing address so I can get those sent out. So go ahead and send in those messages. The first 25 people who respond will get those mailed out, and I will get those mailed out right away. It'll be sent out during the week here. So send those in, and you will get the first postcard type QSL card in the mail physically, and hopefully it'll be something that you'll be able to collect. I'll be doing this from time to time, and I'll post the different cards that I do have, and then when I make the announcement, I will go ahead and say which one it is. So if you already have the one, then you can go ahead and try to get the next one. So the first 25 emails will get sent out a postcard type QSL card from VOSR International.
And lastly, I'd like to thank Paul from St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. He had emailed me about his frustrations trying to find manuals for older radios or any information about them, the schematics, that type of thing. And he put together a list of links for me, and he thought the listeners would appreciate it. And I'm going to take those links, there's about 15 of them, and I am going to add a page onto our website over at VOSR International. So when you hit the menu, go down, it'll be under SW Radio Manuals, and you can go in there and click on those links. Not one link doesn't have all the manuals. It doesn't work like that. They're kind of all over the place, and that's the frustration in trying to find them. But this will give you a one area to go to, and you can just try the links, and hopefully you'll be able to find the radio that you have and get the manual for it. So I'm going to have that over on VOSRinternational.com, and we'll have those links in there. So if you ever need a manual or some information, some schematics for an older shortwave radio or even some of the newer ones, go in there and check out this resource, and hopefully this will help everyone. So again, a big mahalo going out to Paul.
And that concludes our broadcast. Be sure to catch our broadcasts every Saturday at 0300 UTC on 9455 kilohertz, and also on Saturdays at 2300 UTC on 15770 kilohertz. Transmitted by WRMI, Radio Miami International, from Okeechobee, Florida. Until next time, ahui ho, everyone.